Okay, well, Burning Core heating things up nice and early for us. And to be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if they could maybe look to spice things up again in Game 2. But before we go into pick and ban, we're going to quickly get some of the information from the analyst. Master One, what would be your biggest change for this pick and ban going into Game 2?
Let's just talk about some stuff. So, Sol has almost always picked Kai'Sa into the Zeri. He hovered it in that pick and ban phase. He then locked in the Senna. Let's just make sure we can get back to the Kai'Sa. I'd be very happy with that. Also, when Hecarim's open in the first rotation, can a jungler please pick it?
Seems reasonable. Echo, any tips or tricks that you would give Burning Core once again? Do you think they should just run it back?
Honestly, yeah. I would say don't get overconfident, right? That was
both sides run it back for him.
Yeah, exactly. Both sides run it back. Rascal Jester, keep not placing wards. Senna, don't build on grave. You don't need vision. You don't, come on, you don't need that. It's all good. It's all good. Let Flawless do his thing, baby. But yeah, just not getting overconfident. Run that back. I love that aggression that we saw coming out from Burning Core, right? That's that kind of team where, like we said before, they get that lead 15 minutes in. They tend to close out most of their games. Want to see that again. Want to see this kind of, we saw some really good team synergy. I just want to see everything they did up at times 10, and we're good.
Yeah, and I guess my biggest question was what happened to the Xayah Infinite Dodge? Do you think maybe we see a return of Xayah? Do you think maybe we get the Senna again with a different build?
Now, that is actually such a great question, J-Real, because it goes right into what my sort of answer for the side of Rascal Jester was, which is, echoing a little bit of what Echo and Swan have said. For the side of Rascal Jester, you need to do two things. You need to get Sol onto a pick with more agency and more self-peel tools, because we saw the reliable dive of the Nocturne would immediately kill Senna in every fight, but I am being told we are going to hop on over and see what the adjustments will make, so I can't quite finish my point, but yes, self-peel 80 carry for sure for Sol.
Okay, self-peel 80 carry. We're going to chuck it over to RMC and Kashka. Take us into Game 2. Will Burning Core pick up another win?
Well, we are going to find out, and yep, we're going straight into the picks and bans. The sides are the same, the bans so far staying unchanged with that. Kaylin, Karma, LeBlanc, Tryndamere.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the bans stay kind of the same, though. I would love for Rascal Jesters to ban the Nocturne, because it wasn't mentioned on the Analyst list, but I really think the Nocturne was what brought the Burning Core composition together. If Rascal Jesters want to play cute with your flex picks and pick that Senna there, you've got to ban the Nocturne. If you don't ban that Nocturne, then yeah, I agree with Infinite Dodge. Xayah might be the pickup there to blind, or even like what Mas1 said, you can hold that, pick the Kai'Sa as a counter to Zeri, and that too would give you a little bit more safety from that Nocturne dive.
Yeah, we'll see what the first pick is from Burning Core. They are running it back with the Zeri. Now, Rascal Jester, you've got a second chance. Masked Swan is screaming internally and now externally somewhere.
I can feel the disturbance. There we go. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Mas1 can calm down a little bit. It's not quite the Kai'Sa for him here, but I do think the Xayah is a much safer pickup here, and I think Rascal Jesters, one of the things that they excelled at is just team fighting and playing a standard composition, while the Senna flexes are very, very cute, and I love to see in the draft. I absolutely love the fact that they have multiple flexes coming through. You lost game 1, Rascal Jester, just go back to what you're good at, which is that sort of 5v5 team fighting front to back play style here. And Lover's bot lane, that's another thing that we wanted to see. Secret roaming, we touched on it, that CGA series. Secret was omnipresent everywhere. Last game on the Scion, couldn't even leave lane. So I do love seeing the Rakan pick up once again.
Yeah, Xayah, Rakan for Sol and Secret plays much better into what our expectations are of this bot lane, and well, jungle is going to get pinched. I think that is no secret here, but I kind of hope that Rascal Jesters will go for the angle of let's get Hatchamacha to play around the bot lane. Back to what we said before game 1.
Yeah, and once again, the Hecarim's all getting through to the second ban phase here. And interestingly enough, Rascal Jesters banning both junglers here does mean that Darius is up and available for Ray Farkey. Now, I don't know if he's willing to blind it. Generally speaking, he uses it as a counter pick, and he's usually more willing to blind the Gragas. Not to mention, I think the Gragas just works better with this composition that they already have. But then again, when your signature pick is open, Kashka, I would love to see it for selfish viewer reasons.
I mean, I can't disagree here. I'd love to see it as well. Now, Rascal Jester. I am expecting to see a jungler here. With Hecarim and Jarvan both taken off the board, the jungle pool is very small indeed right now. However, something that is open is this Trundle. And are we going to see a lock-in? Yes, we are.
Okay, so Trundle is something that Hachimecha played as well in the CGA series. It's kind of what is expected. But honestly, Kashka, I'm kind of hoping for like a Poppy pickup from either of these teams right now. I feel like Poppy for the LJL has been such an effective jungle pick here. And especially for Burning Core, when you see the likes of the Rakan, like the Ari here, it can do a lot instead. What season have we fallen back into, Kashka? Renekton Nidalee? Though, I think Flawless is one of the few Nidalee players in this league here, so understandable.
Yep. Now it's the question for Aino. What are you going to pick that is not going to get dove time and time again by this duo up in the top lane? I don't think Gangplank is something that can prevent the dives. Of course, if you're looking for scaling, that is going to work. Gragas much more like it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna okay, GP, you can orange away the stun. Sure, they're gonna dive you anyways, even if the spear doesn't hit. You're kind of squishy, kind of vulnerable. The Gragas much better here for Rascal Jesters, and I think this composition kind of fits their style a little bit better here in terms of you've got a lot of disruption coming through from this team. And if we look at what happened in game 1, it was just about trying to keep your carries alive. Other than that, disruption is really good. So I like what Rascal Jesters have drafted, but Burning Core, it's a very similar thing to what they did in game 1. They've got a strong team fighting core with the Victor, with the Zeri, with the Leona. The scaling on these champions are absolutely insane. And the top side of the map, last game, it was Gragas Nocturne, and the Nocturne was the key factor. They didn't play to the lanes, they played to the jungle. Instead, this time, they're probably going to play a bit more to the lanes here, especially with that Renekton Nidalee combo to come through. Even if you do pick a tank like Gragas here, a max range spear is still absolutely going to chunk your health bar.
Absolutely. It feels to me like Burning Core have kept the good part of their composition with the bot side, as you already mentioned, but they kind of streamlined the top lane, lead generating system. I was looking for a fancier term here, but yeah, Renekton Nidalee should be able to win the 2v1 or 2v2. I don't know if they win 2v2, I'm gonna let you take that. But either way, Flawless and very far key, I should just expect them to be sitting on Aino and look to get our Renekton ahead.
You know what, Kashka? I will say they win the 2v2. I think for the 2v2 there, if they land the spear and they choose to go in, they win it. If they don't land the spear, just walk away, right? It's kind of difficult for the Gragas and Trundle to really run you down as well in that 2v2. Nidalee can always just hop away and keep chucking spears back over her shoulder here. So a bit of a change up here. And I still feel like Burning Core just have the initiative in this early game. And for my opinion to change here, I feel like a lot of it does have to come down to Hachimecha on this Trundle. Last game on the Lee Sin, really couldn't find any early action to help out the team. And with the Trundle this time, you can just walk in and invade. Trundle is actually a really strong duelist in the early levels.
Yeah, press the attack as well helps that even more. When you do get those 3 autos, suddenly the damage just spikes so much. And I would love to see Hachimecha start on the top side, go towards the bot lane right now as well, because with the pillar, well, Yuki might be slightly slippery, but Fujimoto is fair game if you can catch him out.
Yeah, and not to mention if you can catch Fujimoto out like with a gank, but just Soul and Secret, right? The Xayah Rakan combination, they can just 2v2 this as well here. Normally into a Leona, I'm kind of like, it's a little bit questionable at times, and it can be coin flippy, but this is Soul and Secret, and Zeri also not that strong in the early game here. So I would love to see Soul and Secret start generating their own leads, and even better for them is that if they can find leads in that bot side, whether it be from ganks or just in the 2v2, it unlocks Secret to roam, and Secret roaming has often felt more effective sometimes than Hachimecha's ganks.
Yeah, and it seems we've got a perfectly balanced game again. This time, Blitzcrank also favoring Burning Core in the late game, though I'm gonna say this is significantly more RJ favored than the last game's graph.
Yeah, that's fair. I think this game, I kind of agree that I think RJ has a better shot at it. And you know what? I'm sticking with my logic from last game, which is that anybody that Blitzcrank kind of votes for here, I'm not really hopeful for them. Secret already with the aggression in this bot side.
Yep, level 2 hit first for the Lovers duo means Fujimoto loses some health and they will get this crash down into the tower. Now both junglers again are pathing towards the top line, so we will not see Hachimecha go for any early bot lane ganks, but instead maybe trying to protect Ray Farki from flawless ganks.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it right there, Kashka. They're recognizing that, hey, when you see the Renekton combo, they're gonna play towards that Renekton because that's how this combo works. Nobody else has quite the same point-and-click CC. Maybe the Leona, but it's a little bit iffy to try and land that Zenith Blade. So Hachimecha just trying to cover here. And I've got mixed feelings about this. I feel like Aino is a very strong weak side player. I think he could survive getting ganked, especially when he's being shoved into turret. And I would have liked to see Hachimecha try and snowball that bot side instead. Try and get Soul and Secret, your win conditions online instead.
Yeah, and now Flawless also should be getting this Scuttle earlier or later, just clearing out the division first. So yeah, Hachimecha getting behind in terms of the clear, unless he just wanted to focus down towards the bot side. I think maybe that is the rationale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also, I mean, just Nido has got incredibly quick clear as well, so it makes sense that she does tend to outstrip a lot of the junglers here. That's it. I think Hachimecha just wanted Shade top early, skip the camp to make sure that he could cover Aino on that early shove there, and now that it's kind of bounced away, Hachimecha is okay to clear his own jungle and look back to the bot side. But I don't know if they were expecting this, the fact that Flawless is still going to try and brute force this top side gank here.
Yeah, the wave is in a relatively safe position for Aino, but he is positioning ahead of those minions. There is the full-range spear. Aino down to half health, will be forced to flash away, but I think Donkey's safe. The spear doesn't matter. Aino is good.
This is diveable. He's still so low. He has to try and get safety, but bot side?
Bot side Fujimoto taking way too much damage. There's the flash. That's the heal coming out. 2 summoners being forced from the bot lane of Burning Core.
Hachimecha is trying to get down here as quick as he can to threaten the same dive that they're pulling on Aino top side here. And Aino is getting zoned between turrets without that flash. He kind of needs to reset, but he's not sure where Flawless is.
Yeah, Flawless did reset, of course. We can see that in the bot lane. And Hachimecha is going to look for a dive. There's the Grand Entrance Secret. Gonna take 2 target shots. Will have to back off. It's the first blood, though, with the Blade Collar picked up by Soul.
That was not the clean dive that we wanted to see from Rascal Jester. That they do get out alive. That's a lot riskier than it should have been. And Soul is playing with fire here.
Ooh, yeah, good flash to dodge the damage, but he put himself in a position where that summoner has to be burned, which not ideal, given that you hand the play if you're a Rascal Jester.
Not at all, Kashka. That's every single flash from the side of Rascal Jesters in this bot side. Hachimecha had to blow his as well for that initial dive. So while sure, Rascal Jesters do pick up first blood, and hey, once again, it does involve Soul and Secret here, this is a vulnerable bot lane, and Burning Core can look to punish. That's why we're seeing Flawless, even in a 1v2 behind enemy line situations, is willing to do this because he knows that, hey, I've still got flash. You guys don't.
Yeah, I mean, he loses the Gromp. He's going in onto Secret, playing with absolute impunity in this bot lane. This is just bullying at this point. I mean, Hachimecha has to be around to respond. There is a big wave being shoved in. Fujimoto will be looking for a stun down onto Soul, going in with a Zenith Blade, but taking so many torrent shots. Wait, oh no, it was Flawless with the heal. That's right, Fujimoto survives.
Okay, so that should be illegal here, Kashka. The fact that Rascal Jesters won that particular trade. Now, Burning Core, because they're so low and because they still haven't reset, get to keep threatening this dive over and over again. All they need is a single spear to land. And look at how low Secret is this time. Base gets cancelled again. Secret is not allowed to base. The wave is gonna leave, and unless Hachimecha eats this,
Secret, he's so damn low. Go home. Is this allowed? Come on, Flawless. Okay, he's gonna look for blood. He's going to burn the flash. Secret is near the bush, though. However, the slow there is the auto attack. And Flawless now in a bad position. He doesn't have the flash anymore. The root not connecting down from Soul, and Flawless, he just keeps going with it.
Look at that. So much time from Rascal Jesters here, Kashka. They're missing out massive waves bot side. And in the mid lane, what we weren't able to see off screen was the fact that Dice was throwing his body at recap as hard as he could to try and stop the Ahri from rotating across. and it worked. So considering all that has happened here, Kashka, I'm actually surprised that we're not seeing a bigger gold lead in favor of Burning Core when they successfully put Ino behind, cut him off between turrets when they did the exact same thing bot side just minutes later.
Yeah, that is a very fair point. I don't have an answer to that. They're just not as far ahead. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see how. But I think Flawless still great play here, playing at the edge of, well, the limit, literally limit testing in this game. Let's see what he can get from that, right? Because we've got a pretty significant CS advantage for Yuhi over Soul in the bot lane. That does help the Zeri hit her power spikes earlier, and, well, the flashes still aren't up, to be frank.
Yeah, and we should highlight as well that while Yuhi does have an advantage in this lane, it's not an advantage that was generated by Yuhi here. It's coming from Flawless into this bot side, and before Flawless showed up, Soul and Secret were running this bot side. Even on that first dive from Burning Core, they almost lost Fujimoto for a second time within the span of about 2 minutes there. So now that Flawless isn't in this bot side, the question is, can Rascal Jester stabilize this back up? And if they can, what does that mean for the rest of the game? Because if Soul and Secret stabilize his bot lane from the position that they're in, where he's down almost 20 CS from his counterpart, that means that his mechanics are just better. And when it comes to those team fights later as well, we heard that, hey, Infinite Dodge wanted a champion with more agency. If Soul gets that agency, what can he do compared to the Zeri?
Indeed, now while junglers pathing towards the top side, the Herald might just be the next target. And also, what is Flawless's plan? He spent a lot of time in the bot lane, not too much of an immediate gain. Kind of left the top lane to just dry, and that means Rayfarki and Ino, even as things stand right now.
Actually, good recovery from Ino to pretty much equalize these things here. Flawless starting up the Herald. I don't think they actually spotted the spear coming across here, but they are roaming up as a pair. They see it now, but look at the vision from Burning Core here, and look what they did. They start rotating first, so they'll have a numbers advantage.
Yeah, Soul and Secret now crossing through the mid lane. Fujimoto going in for the engage. Soul mention is a lockdown. We'll be able to flash away. Secret coming in with the counter engage and the cast for disruption. Idol picks up the kill. And Rascal Jester, what a beautiful fight in this river. Rayfarki on the backside trying to make something work, but will be forced to flash over the wall.
No way! Idol stole the Herald as well. While they were all distracted, Rascal Jesters just got away with the biggest heist we've seen this series, Kashka, and it comes off of Secret. I hope we get a replay, because this was the Secret that we're hoping to see. Thank you, LJL. And keep in mind that at this point, Rascal Jesters have no vision on the Herald. They actually lost vision here, and you see Hacha Mitchell get caught. You're thinking, oh, it's Dunzo, right? Spear comes in, but no, Secret with the hero man play, going in and not just saving Hacha Mitchell, but re-engaging on that back line as well was absolutely massive to get them 2 kills plus Herald. And Rascal Jesters, you know, after that early couple of levels, I was getting a bit worried about how things were going, but they've just swung things completely back in their favor. And this is before the Herald has even been dropped and they even pick up the plates from that take.
And it's the Rascal Jester I was hoping to see the fight, working immaculately. Secret. I mean, we can sing his praises. We probably will in the series if he continues to play like that. But yeah, finally popping off on the Rakan. And the real question is, what do Burning Core do right now, right? Their early game plans have been crossed. The goal is back to slightly in favor of Rascal Jester, but all the tempo seems to be extinguished from Burning Core.
True. They are definitely a little bit on the back foot. They did, however, manage to secure at least a dragon to answer the Herald here, and they've been picking up tons of Cloud Drakes, but this time it's not a Cloud Soul. So you're getting a little bit of out-of-combat movement speed. Great. A little bit of slow resistance. It's useful against Trundle, maybe, I guess. Maybe against the Gragas barrels a little bit, but not that critical. And for Rascal Jesters, we say that, okay, Burning Core's momentum has been stalled, but I feel like the question's on the other foot. What can Rascal Jesters do with this? Can they get their own momentum going here? Or are we just going to see both teams kind of stall out and go back to a farm state?
Well, Hachamecha looking to use that Herald down in the bot lane. Flawless is around, clearing out the wards, and Rascal Jester playing hesitantly, still not wanting to fully commit towards that acceleration.
Yeah, and that was what I feared a little bit, Kashka, with, you know,
Yeah.
going back to that stalemate state, because Flawless is still very, very scary. Nidalee is strong in these early levels here, and Hachamecha, unfortunately, just not able to quite match the damage that come out, especially if any of those spears land. So Hachamecha has to try and play away from Flawless here. In the siege situation, you won't win out. But because Rascal just doesn't want to play bot side, Flawless can kind of read them and be like, okay, well, I'll just keep sitting down bot side here and stop you from dropping the Herald. And until you leave, I'm not going to leave.
And it's working for now. The game has been stabilized. Burning Core just doing their own thing. And Ray Farkey starting to get a bit of a CS advantage in the top lane finally. No plays, no anything like that, and those 2 kills means that Aino is going to be feeling pretty good. There we go, finally Hachamecha is going to drop the Herald, but I fear RMC is just going to be placed and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you share the plate gold here as well. Ideally, you wanted to funnel all the gold into Soul, but you can't. And once again, we said, right, Flawless is going to sit down here as long as Hachamecha is down here. And sure enough, that's exactly what we see. Congrats, Herald charges successfully. You get 2 plates, and that's kind of it. And now it's just going to reset, right? Hachamecha going to go back into jungle to farm. Flawless going to go back to jungle to farm. And while all this was happening, like you mentioned, topside, Ray Farkey generating a lead of his own here in the CS numbers. And keep in mind, Aino did pick up 2 kills in that fight, but Ray Farkey's still running this lane.
Yeah, doing what Renekton should be doing, which means that Rascal Jester, they're effectively losing out as this is going, especially mid lane. I mean, Ari is a pick that is based on proactiveness. Dice, he just wants to farm, and right now, he is allowed to do that.
True. And that's been one of the criticisms we've had of Recap's Ari, is that I feel like he doesn't play for the lane. He plays to roam out and then make some of these picks happen. But when Hachamecha is not on a hard ganking jungler like that J4 here, it's hard for Recap to find these sort of opportunistic pickups here, and that's why Recap just kind of sits in the mid lane, doesn't do anything early. That said, we saw Recap with some really good flanks, really good moves last game as well, and I think with Soul on a safer champion this time, Recap might be enabled to start making more plays in those skirmishes.
Yeah, first tower picked up by Soul, and Secret in the bot lane bumps the gold lead up to 1000. The bot lane of Rascal Jester still reliable as ever. They managed to bounce back after the early shenanigans, and yeah, with slight help from their jungler and the Herald, they will be securing the first tower.
Yeah, and at least this time on that turret, they managed to funnel most of the gold into Soul here. But the interesting question now becomes, what's the lane assignments, Kashka? Because normally when bot side turret goes down, you rotate your your bot lane into the mid lane, try and siege up that mid lane turret. You send your mid down to that bot side here. But into a Victor, it's actually incredibly hard to push. And if Dice wants to just sit in this mid lane here, he can actually just safely wave clear for days. And if you rotate Victor to the bot lane, to the long lane, that's when I feel like it gets a little bit risky, because if Hachamecha ever shows up, Recap's just going to run you down on that Ari.
Yeah, it seems to be Ray Farkey going down to... One moment. Yeah, Ray Farkey going down towards the bot lane. The dragon is being set up, and Aino is going to be responding in the top side. Doesn't quite have the teleport, which is what I'll be looking at. Hextech Dragon, of course, one of the best single dragons in the game, if not the best.
Yeah, I think the Hextech Soul as well is highest win rate Soul out of all the dragons. So both teams will want to fight for this, but for one, I don't know if Rascal Jester are going to say, okay, you know what, we just go for the Herald instead. We'll give this one up and we'll try and just take and stack whatever the Soul ultimately ends up being. Hachamecha is on Herald, and I do believe a blue trinket just went down, so I think it's Burning Core's trinket. They should know that Hachamecha is not available for this upcoming dragon.
Yeah, he's taking the Herald. What do Burning Core do? They are rotating down, but Ray Farkey is still walking up to the top lane. Dice is walking up to the bot lane. They're not on the map yet to start up this dragon. And this means the Rascal Jester pick up the Herald for free, and now they've got time to respond.
Yeah, and completely unpunished. Soul actually able to heal up a little bit from the Omnivamp from that Eclipse. Did get chunked before this, and now Rascal Jesters are in a great position to try and contest this here. Recap even bot side, kind of looking to see if they can rotate up. The only problem is they don't realize how many wards Burning Core actually has covering that mid to river access.
And also the spears together with Yuhi's Zeri. So oppressive when it comes to poking over the wall. You have to be on your feet at all times. If you're Soul Secret or, well, really anyone, as the dragon is going to be taken by Burning Core. No contest. That is the Hex Tech. And do we have Infernal Rift? Did I just see that right for a moment? Anyways, first things first. Herald down in the middle. That is Rascal Jester taking down the tier 1.
Yeah, and you know what? For Rascal Jesters, they're going to be happy to trade that Hex Dragon over for another stack of Infernal, if they can do that. And this, Kashka, is the quintessential Rascal Jesters we've been seeing all throughout the regular season. This isn't playoff Rascal Jesters. This is the Rascal Jesters who will happily sit in their lanes, out-farm you, try and get Soul up as farmed as possible, and then contest you at third Drake at that 20-25 minute mark here. So far, it's been looking very, very comfortable, and I like what we've been seeing in terms of the map rotations as well. They've got 2 turrets now topside. It's the last outer turret remaining here. I expect to see Soul and Secret being rotated up here quite soon.
Yeah, the recalls have come through right now, and Aino as well. I don't think that Ray Farky is going to kill him in a 1v1, as long as Aino plays it respectfully. That Gragas has gotten to the point where, at least with AD damage, Renekton is not going to be able to do a whole lot, and actually Soul Secret will be staying in the mid lane, trying to keep that Xayah safe as a priority. 5 sweepers coming out of Rascal Jester.
Well, they really wanted to, you know what?
Yeah.
They took a page out of Burning Core's book. They're like, okay, you know what? You picked Nocturne and you gave us Paranoia. We're going to do this a good old-fashioned way. We don't have Nocturne. We'll take 5 sweepers and clear vision constantly here, and you'll have to play into us. Now, the thing with 5 sweepers, though, is that you have to be the first team there to clear everything out. And so far, Rascal Jesters has been the slower team to all the dragons, at least here. So when you pick up 5 sweepers, I want to see them proactively moving. They're clearing up vision topside. They're setting up for the recap push. I like to see this here, but that does also mean that when you commit everything to the top side here, Burning Core can instead rotate and try and push that bot, or maybe even look for some picks mid.
Yeah. What's striking to me here is that basically all the lead that Rascal Jester has is on Soul and Secret. There is a minor lead in the mid lane and top lane, I suppose, but that is basically it. If you take out the Xayah out of the equation, Burning Core, well, that's even ground.
Pretty much, yeah. I'd agree with that statement here, and I think that's kind of what Burning Core are hoping to do. I mean, they picked the Zeri, and normally when a team picks a Zeri, you're like, oh, you want your AD carry here, but I think Burning Core, they always have been a top-centric team, and even when they put Yuhi on these sort of carries, they don't play for Yuhi. They don't peel for Yuhi. Even in game 1, we saw that in a lot of those fights, Yuhi was just on his own, and Fujimoto was with everybody else diving these backlines here. So if Yuhi can sort of distract Soul, that's a win for Burning Core. And now that all the outer turrets are down, Kashka, Rascal Justice are going to have a harder time pushing here. They had really good macro rotations, but as the lanes get long, and because their lanes aren't exactly winning lanes, they're kind of even lanes here, it's going to get a bit more difficult. And I think it'll be about that 2-minute mark when Dragon spawns is when we're going to see the next big piece of action here, when both teams are going to set up for a 5v5.
Indeed. Outside of that, just wave clearing the lanes, trying to contest for vision. But we already said the 5 sweeper means that Rascal Jester, they're going to have the priority on vision wherever they go. Of course, they have to go there, but since picking up those sweepers, they seem to have been doing that very well.
True. Yeah, you can already see that they're setting up for this bot side immediately. They're sending Aino to that top side to match Ray Farky's push, and with that teleport enabled as well, you can very quickly join the team. Now, the thing that you have to remember is when you run 5 sweepers here, you don't have a ton of wards, and you do need wards for Aino to actually TP on, and you do want wards to try and get vision of Burning Core walking in. So that's all on Secret right now to set up that vision line for them.
Yeah, and Burning Core have moved into their jungle. They have established a line of vision around this dragon. It's going to be the first Infernal of this game. And yeah, Burning Core are not going to give up an inch, it seems like.
Nope, this is that dragon that they have to fight for here, Kashka. They gave up the first 2, and you're fine with that. But giving up an Infernal Soul point is very, very risky, because then your backs are up against the wall. You definitely don't want to give over Soul. So they're sort of all winning this one here. You can see the top laners as well. They've just walked down here. They're not waiting for teleports, and now it's going to be a game of dodgeball between these two teams. Can you dodge the spears on the side of Rascal Jester? And for the side of Burning Core, all those feathers, all those barrels, you're going to be trying to dodge those as well.
Yep, the poke wars have begun, well and truly. The dragon is going to be up in 5 seconds, and Rascal Jester, they all have the first priority in the mid lane. Now moving in, they're going to be taking control of that side of the jungle. Flawless is fishing for those spears, with Rascal Jester really good at just sidestepping all of them. It feels like Burning Core, they reclaimed the vision. The dragon hasn't yet been started.
Yeah, and they don't know that there's a ward in the back of that pit for Burning Core here. So Burning Core know when it's finally been pulled out. They actually even still have vision on the Inferno. Every time it goes back in here, it gets reset.
The dragon has reset for us! Go
Oh!
steals the dragon! Now let's see for the fight. Secret is going to pop the quickness. Fark is going to be the target. Somehow still stays alive through all the killing. Crashes away, and Rascal Jester are taken for a trip around the town. They get 1 kill. But the rest of the Burning Core, they're just gonna run away with the dragon.
Yeah, and if yeah, Burning Core, you're more than happy with that trade here. Yeah, sure, Rayfarky dies, but you know what? He's Renekton. His job was done when he won his lane. He can pretty much die for the team right now. And I think teams have forgotten how you deal with the Nidalee here. They're so used to Lee Sin being the big steal away. They forgot that Nidalee can do the exact same thing here. You chuck a spear and you go in. Ebby, there are too many things you want to talk about from the previous game. There's a lot that we want to talk about too here. The analyst has covered, and I wonder what Ebby's thoughts are on Rayfarky, you know, just kind of diving in there and actually distracting them after that fight as well, allowing the rest of the team to get out.
Yeah, well, job done, I guess. Renekton 0-1-0, not really what you want to see from this pick. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of Renekton when that's the scoreline, but hey, Rayfarky played Disruption. If it works, it works. That's my motto.
It's true. It's just weird for us because Rayfarky is such a big carry player, and even on the Gragas, while he's not carrying through damage, he's definitely still a big playmaker. And on this Renekton, it just feels like you could swap Rayfarky out with any other LJL top laner, and they'd still be able to do a similar thing, right? Just survive, just bully out in lane here. So, yeah, but you're right, Kashka. It's working for now, and Flawless, this Nidalee right now is up 40 CS from their counterpart, stole away the Inferno soul point. And we're just touching on it, the fact that, hey, that means that in 5 minutes time, Rascal Jesters really have to hard commit to this dragon here. They cannot afford to give up soul, and next time, even at the expense of maybe losing somebody to that spear, somebody has to tank that spear with their face and make sure it does not hit that dragon.
Yeah, interestingly, adaptation here from Soul swaps out to Blue Trinket as well, Burning Core have definitely found their foothold in this game. You now have to be more careful about face-checking bushes. You really need to make sure you know where you're going.
Okay. Hachimesh just scared that one. For a second, I thought the spear actually stole it again. And I was like, yeah, they need to start face tanking. They need a tank to start face tanking.
Yeah, the Secret is gonna go in straight onto Fujimoto. That Leona very tanky, but in a 1-on-4, Soul will be able to cut them down. Support down. Let's see Burning Core if they can contest, because Rascal Jester are applying the pressure by moving towards this Baron. Yeah, I don't know if you want to start it though.
Yeah, and that's when all these sweepers are coming in handy, right? They know that they've cleared up division in the river and in the Baron pit here, so they were trying to sort of bait with a death bush, but ultimately, because of that blue trinket, doesn't quite happen. Secret looking for the engage and TP in the back.
He can't quite catch up though. There's the teleport, as you said, coming in from Aino. He's got the access to the cast, but Burning Core playing Disruption well enough. Soul on the front of the team, walking forward, dishing out the damage. But Burning Core, they stop the Baron, they get the teleport out. That's everything they could have asked for.
Yeah, a bit of a win coming through for them here, Kashka, but the fear is that it's not going to be enough, because as much as they find these small wins here, they've not found a big team fight win. And we're getting to the point of the game where objectives are nice, but objectives are often coming from big team fights. And if you can't win a team fight, what are you going to do? You have the Victor, you have the Leona, you have the Zeri, but we said before, Soul just feels like the better mechanical AD carry. And on a champion like Xayah right now, well, there's a reason why he's 2-0-3 right now, 100% KP along with Hachimecha.
RMC, allow me to make a speculation. That Infernal Dragon, the next one, is probably what will decide the game. Because if Burning Core get it, I mean, Infernal Soul is a massive boost to the team fight. But if Rascal Jester are able to win out the fight, take the dragon, then all those worries that you have just mentioned, I think I'm starting to, lose hope for how Burning Core can overcome them.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I feel like one dragon. Okay, the thing with Rascal Jester is that they have 0 dragons right now, so the one dragon that they take isn't that impactful. But it's the fact that they can take it is the problem, because they can just repeat that over and over again. Now for Burning Core, they are getting some good poke down here. The problem is it's not sticking. So is healing back up, and unless they are landing spears, the laser poke is insufficient. 10 seconds left, Kashka, before the potential game-breaking fight.
The charm did go wide. Wayfarky was the potential target. You can see Flawless just missing those spears time and time again, hoping something would stay, but Rascal Jester just a bit too good at staying out of immediate range and not getting hit by them. Wayfarky dropped down by some health, but Flawless, he's got the healing. And actually, after that many spears, Flawless starting to run out of mana. You gotta be careful, like, mate, there's an entire dragon fight about to happen.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Burning Core actually has kind of largely peeled off of this
God.
altogether here. Hacha Mitch, he was trying to sneak it with that pink ward, but they do spot him out. They are going to know that Dragon got leashed out here. And yeah, it's just a patient game of cat and mouse here, Kashka. Yeah, it's just, who loses patience first.
I absolutely hated Wayfarky getting charged. He's brought down again to about half health. There we go.
Oh!
Damage that is going to stick. Secret popping into the quickness. Fujimoto is going to be the target. Take out the support. Sure, why not? I know with the first kill of the fight, but the carries are still alive. Wayfarky on the side is going to be taken low, and Yuki chunked down by Soul.
Oh!
So Wayfarky flashes in for nothing. Flawless goes golden on the backside. He's taken down by Recap. And it's been a patient fight from Rascal Jester, but they wait out Burning Core. They will take the fight and the dragon as well.
And sure enough, Kashka, like you guessed earlier, with this one dragon here, this is a statement win, not just because they took the dragon, but because they found kills, and they're gonna pick up Baron as well, Kashka. And similar to last game, when you take Baron at this point in the game, you can really push with your team. And we can see that Rascal Jesters right now, they're not afraid of the poke that Burning Core can put out. They're dodging everything oh so well. So how effective is Nidalee really going to be at the counter siege? And for Dice here, sure, you've got great wave clear, but into Baron minions, that's a tough one.
Well then, 29 minutes on the clock. Baron buff picked up for Rascal Jester. Puts them at 5,000 gold in the lead. Yuki will try and respond with the bot lane turret. But, I mean, just the patience to wait out for a single mistake from Wayfarky here.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Soul especially in this series of fights. Because look at Soul. Soul is actually playing forward on this Xayah. There's no real peel for Soul because Soul is so far up and looking to make things happen. The Chaos Storm splits the team. And instead of backing up, Soul actually went in and kind of baited all of Burning Core into him. And this is why you heard on the Analyst desk, they were screaming, stop playing with the Senna. Pick something normal. Pick the Xayah, which has become one of the priority 80 carries in the LJL here. And sure, with that Featherstorm, when you've got that much safety, you don't even have to burn Flash. You don't have to burn Cleanse. Just your abilities alone are enough to buy you time.
And this entire game, Rascal Jester playing like a team finally with a comp that they feel much more comfortable with. You look at the kill participations, the lowest one is Ino with 75%. Like almost all the kills this team found were found together.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, like we said, Rascal Jesters have always done in the regular season, is start grouping up and team fighting, and sure enough, it looks good. So I don't think was even stunned up, just slowed, but got what the cleanse? I thought I saw a cleanse animation.
Well, I mean,
okay.
apparently not. Yeah, sometimes the animations are the way they are. The siege, however, from Rascal Jester is coming through. A spear lands onto Recap, but you look at his health bar and you could have guessed that did not happen. Flawless getting slowed by the pillar and zoned away from the tower. That is the tier 2 in the bot lane falling down. Ino walking the wave into this inner mid lane turret. Wayfarky, he can't touch him. And Ino knows this. Look at how far he's playing. This is actually ridiculous. Ino might even 1v1 him if he wants to.
I feel like that's the revenge Ino is having for the entire laning phase, where he just got abandoned. Like Hachimecha didn't even look top at all. And Ino finally starts winning the 1v1.
I don't think Flawless wins this one. Yeah, he's going to try and flash away, get secrets, cuts off the exit. There's no escaping through there, and that's 2 kills picked up by Rascal Jester. And yeah, they use this ban buff. really damn well, kind of similar to how Burning Core did in game 1. Just secure the Baron, explode your lead, and put yourself in a position to close this game out.
Yeah, the Baron buff isn't over yet, Kashka, and this is a
I know.
5v3. You can see their positioning to dive here. They found
There
Ice.
is Charm onto Dice, and that is 2 more kills. It's only Yuhi left alive, and while Zeri might be a strong champion, I don't quite think it's a 1v5 potential. And there's the flash. Will be flashed away from by Yuhi. The mana inhibitor goes down. Yuhi trying to
Run, Yuhi, no!
but there is the pillar into the knockup, and the ace is being found. Rascal Jester. They're gonna bounce back strong, and they should be able to finish this game off.
Yeah, and the way Burning Core is dropping too is really not working to their advantage. Because look at those death timers, and if you had multiple people up, you could stop the push. But Flawless and Ray Farkey can't do this alone.
Yep, Rascal Jester. Game 1, that was maybe not characteristic of them, but game 2, welcome back into the series, Rascal Jester. We missed you.
Kashka, is this why you predicted the 3-1 here? You knew that.
I want to say yes, but no, I did not expect that.
Fair enough here. And to give credit to Burning Core, their early game was actually pretty good. And Flawless exerted so much pressure. It's just when you drop the Renekton Nidalee, you've got to not just win the early game, but smash the early game and get that lead snowballing. And that one Herald fight, I think, really just screwed everything over. If they didn't lose at that Herald fight, Flawless probably could have continued pacing around, getting, you know, all the other lanes ahead. But when you fall behind there, Flawless got set so far behind that the Nidalee just couldn't help the lanes. And as they scaled up, if you can see the spears, you can dodge the spears.
For sure, but the desk will be ready after a short break to break down that game, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Well, normality has returned. The predictions that most people have had have come to the truth. And everyone is pretty happy about it, except for Echo, obviously shaking his head there. And to be fair, let's roll the first clip. Echo, we'll go to you first. Burning Core did still have a decent early game, but weren't able to really snowball it into what they were in the game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw a lot of really really good early aggression coming out, especially from a Flawless, right? I'm curious to see actually what's. Yeah, I mean, here it is, right? It's literally going to be showing just a spear after spear coming out. Flawless was just going Chad mode, right? He did not care, wasting so much time as well from Hatch. Look at that. He sees that kill. He goes for, he sends everything, grabs it as well. And like we were saying, right, it's always nice to see. That's the kind of aggression we wanted to see. We got to see it on the Nocturne as well. This time around, though, it just didn't quite come to fruition as we hoped.
Yeah, no, it didn't indeed. Obviously, Burning Core fans are going to be a little bit upset. Obviously, a really good start from Flawless there, but it wasn't continued. The pace of the game really slowed down after those early moments. And Dodge, this is kind of, I feel like, what we expected from this game. We expected it to be a pretty slow, long, drawn out, and then Russell just is taking team fights to the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the Rascal Jester style that they've shown in playoffs, at least. They haven't deigned to play more aggressively yet, as we take a little look at the seal-off team fight of the game. This is just a nice bow tied on top. But it was essentially a race against the clock for Burning Core, because they got themselves that Nidalee Renekton pair-up, and you have to find early snowballs. You have to continue building your lead steadily as the game goes, and they just weren't able to do it. Ray Farkey in particular, looking more or less completely outclassed by Ino on that weak side king, that neutralization pick that was the Gragas. And, once you make it to 10, 15 minutes, even with the stacking Drakes they had, they just didn't have the scaling really without, early kills benefiting Dice or Yuhi to really be able to contest. And, it's clear as day it's the ace coming through there to finish it off. It was Rascal Jester's game probably from minute 15 on, you had to feel. Although, Flawless had a nice Dragon Steal.
Yeah, and obviously we talked a little bit about pick and ban. We'll talk a bit about more of that as we go into the next game. But Muswan, you wanted to see the Kaisar. We got to see the Xayah. It seemed like Russell Justice had a little bit more of a normal draft where they could play a normal team fight. Is this exactly what you wanted to see from them?
Yes, but it wasn't Soul that impressed me more. It was actually Secret, weirdly enough. The fact is, he was roaming! He got to do that! He wasn't on a Scion! He could actually ward stuff! The Rascal Jester's Vision game was like night and day different between these two. They didn't get to run over game number one, because guess what? Burning Core actually gave them some pushback. They had to work for it. It didn't go in their favor, so they kind of lost in a very much a one and done kind of situation in game number one. Game number two, Secret was all around this map, and because of that, it allowed Soul to feel more comfortable. They were able to pick up some kills, get the farm going, and then, yeah, we've seen how these clips went. Burning Core had the early game, but come minute 15, minute 20, it kind of felt like Rascal Jester's game to lose.
Maybe it was the first game loss that they needed. Obviously, the Joker always says, you want to know how I got these scars. They definitely picked up some scars in game one, losing that, but they're now back and meaning business. You know how this goes. Batman needs to turn it up as they come through these later series. But we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back getting ready for game three.